It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. It is the Brad and John Show for Monday, December 9th. This is A block, which means it's the 7 o'clock hour. The reason I mention that is because we do this show live from 7, 8 o'clock every morning, Monday through Friday, Central Time. And John Combest, good morning, John.
Good morning, Brad.
John Combest is the star of the show because he slaves over a hot laptop for hours and hours and hours and comes up with this incredible website called JohnCombest.com. We pick the best of all the entries he has on JohnCombest.com. We bring in this guy. What's your name again, sir?
I'm Casey Kasem.
Oh, you're a little distorted there. One more time, sir.
I'm Casey Kasem.
It's still a little bit distorted. What's going on with that? We bring in that guy, Casey Kasem, and he counts them down.
Now on with the countdown.
And we start off with...
In third place,
Brad, on this show, we've been accused by some, including our friend Mike Elam, of having a Bill Eigel fascination. Remember when Mike came on and mentioned that?
No, he said specifically you, not necessarily me.
He said me. He said, yeah, let's be fair here. He said I'm a Bill Eigel fascination guy because we do talk a lot about Bill Eigel rumors. But one place where Bill Eigel's name was not mentioned but kind of invoked was this weekend on This Week in Missouri Politics. Incoming Senate leader, Cindy O'Loughlin, has said that things are going to be pretty good this year. And Brad, again, if I didn't mention it, this was on This Week in Missouri Politics with Scott Vaughn. And she mentioned that some of the people that were around the Senate the last few years, Brad, that were kind of creating havoc, kind of fomenting dissent, those folks are gone. And the prospects of the Missouri Senate actually getting down to work are pretty good this year. And the one thing that she mentioned was what she's looking forward to this year in the Senate is when folks have disagreements, whether they're Republicans and Democrats or Republicans and Republicans, when they come to the floor, they're talking about policy. When they have a personal issue, they handle it off the Senate floor. The Senate floor is for debating the merits of a bill, Brad. Anyway, Cindy O'Loughlin went through a few other policy topics like MoDOT, like Missouri courts, like getting rid of the infestation of DEI in Missouri government. And Scott Vaughn also had the incoming Senate minority leader, a guy named Doug Beck from South St. Louis County, on the show as well to talk about Democrat priorities. So, Brad, even though I'm a Bill Eigel fascination guy, and his name was not mentioned on the show, the spirit of Bill Eigel lives on when it comes to talking about the Missouri Senate.
But, you know, there's something about that story you didn't mention. Cindy did another interview.
What was that?
Cindy did another interview, and she said, you know, if we would have had Mike Elam as a senator in the Missouri State Senate, we wouldn't have had all those problems that Bill Eigel created. That's what she said.
I think that's exactly what she said. That's verbatim. And then she appeared in his video alongside you for St. Charles County Executive. Now, people say that there's a difference between you and Cindy. And I say, yeah, Cindy would never wear a pink safety vest in public.
You're never going to live that down, are you? Okay.
Well, hey, as long as Jason Rosenbaum continues to promote the picture, of course I'm not. And, you know, we'll talk about Jason in probably about 4 minutes, Brad.
Really? And by the way, I saw his, have you seen his new, he's got some new green screen thing. Have you seen that where he's doing like a green screen thing where he's doing like supers above his head? Did you see that?
Yeah, he started that here in 2021. You're right on top of it, Brad.
Well, no, he said something the other day about it. He said, I saw this just the other day. He said, I've got a new green screen thing, and look at this. And he talked about, it was just like last week he said that. And
I'm giving you a hard time, Brad. Yeah, Jason does my favorite Instagram reel gimmick, which I just saw a how-to. It was kind of like watching David Copperfield. But Jason does the thing where you're able to take two versions of yourself and have them talk to each other.
Really?
I love that. He's so good at this stuff.
You know, why? Can I ask a dumb question, John?
Yeah, why does he work at St. Louis Public Radio? That's your question.
No, well, I was going to ask that, but why are they 34 people on the news staff, including him? And how come I never see or hear from 33 of them? Why is that, John? Tell me.
Well, there is a really good story. And story number 2 that comes from St. Louis Public Radio, Brad.
And here we go.
Up a notch to number 2.
You and I have discussed, Brad, the idea of being able to change your, quote, gender marker on your state-issued license. And there are some transgender advocacy groups that are not happy with what happened back in August. And, Brad, if you remember what happened at Lifetime Fitness, the Missouri Department of Revenue changed their policy. You can't just fill out a form and have your physician say you're now a male or a female, you have to today actually show proof of gender reassignment surgery or have a court order in order to get your ID changed. Now, a number of groups are quite unhappy with this, Brad, and they sent a sternly worded letter to the head of the Missouri Department of Revenue, Wayne Wallingford. And they talk about the fact that this rule change is creating a great deal of hardship among Missouri transgenders. And Brad, my favorite part of the letter is at the very end. And they say they want an answer. They want action from Wayne Wallingford within 7 business days. Now, they don't say what happens if Wayne Wallingford doesn't act within 7 days and doesn't make this a little bit easier for the transgender community. I don't know exactly what's at the other end of their threat, but it's signed by, very important transgender advocacy groups like Abortion Action Missouri and Planned Parenthood. And also my favorite group is the Metro Trans Umbrella Group. They split off from the Metro Trans Parasol group a few years ago. And they have a radical subset called the Metro Trans Parka group, too. They're just different weather groups. So Wayne Wallingford, I don't know if he's going to respond within 7 business days, Brad. They've given him an ultimatum, and Lord knows if they might write another sternly worded letter if he doesn't act within 7 days.
You know what? If I were Wayne, you know what I'd reply back? I'd say, hey, you know what? Get in line at one of the DOR fee offices, and I'll talk to you after you come to the top of the line. How about that?
Oh, yeah. Or if you come to the concierge desk, and then you could get the Brad Hildebrand white glove treatment.
No, that's not the white. That's not my treatment. That's everybody's treatment.
Well, yeah, but that's especially for you, Brad, because they know how many fossil fuels you burn and time you waste driving to Jefferson City.
Okay. Here's my last license plate renewal. Okay, I go to the Chesterfield, or excuse me, I go to the Chesterfield office and it's no longer there. It's closed. Then I go to the St. Charles office and it's moved. I go to the new St. Charles office and I walk in the door. Yeah, what do you want? And I go, I'm not going here. So I go out to the what is there? The what's the place out there?
Warrenton.
The Warrenton fee office, which is in the old Warrenton Outlet Mall. And I walk and they go, yeah, what do you want? You're number 46 on the list, and we may not even get to you today. So I get in my car and I drive west on 70, south on 54. I pull up right next to the building, get a parking space right outside the door, walk in, and a lovely lady says, hi, welcome to Jefferson City. Can I see your paperwork? I show her my paperwork. She says, oh, you know what? Everything's in order. Here's your number. You'll be served within 5 minutes. And you know what? I was.
Yeah. Now, maybe that has something to do with the closer you work in proximity to the big boss. Maybe you're incentivized subconsciously to do better. Maybe if you're in a faraway satellite office, you're like, nobody will ever know if I tell the patrons to stick it.
John, flag the tape, because what I'm going to say, this is one instance where the government works better than the private sector. That's all I'll say, because
yeah. By the way, if you want more information, send me an email and we'll make it a sunshine request. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Go out to your car and send an email, and then we'll make it a sunshine request.
Thank you, Kurt Barr. Okay.
See, we're back on track after a quick technical snafu, Brad.
John's like a dog with a bone. There's certain things that you never let go of, are there?
I can't let go. And by the way, if you want to learn about great local government service, turn into the TJ show. Because last week they were talking about the temperature change and allergies in Central Park, which is what everybody in the Westplex can relate to. Brad, let's get back to Jason Rosenbaum. And I believe he's in story number 1.
John's just not going to let go of the TJ show either. Okay, here we go.
The number 1.
You and I, Brad, have discussed why Kamala Harris lost. There's so many reasons. And you have your theories, Brad, and I have my theories, which are largely aligned in yours. But I don't know. I guess there's different people have different views based on where you are on the partisanship scale. Russ Carnahan, member of the beloved Carnahan family. He's the head of the Missouri Democratic Party these days, Brad. He was on Jason Rosenbaum's show on Friday, the Politically Speaking Hour on St. Louis on the Air. Did you catch any of this on Friday, Brad?
I did not, John. Am I in trouble?
No, absolutely not. So I didn't listen to it either. And disappointingly, Brad, there is no transcript available on Apple Podcasts. Usually every transcript is up there. So I was disappointed to not see an AI-generated transcript up. But I'm pulling quotes from Jason's story that's published on St. Louis Public Radio today. They do the show on Friday. Jason does his write-up, and then it's published on the St. Louis Public Radio website on Monday. Here's Russ Carnahan's quote about why Kamala Harris lost in Missouri. There's still some prejudice about African-American candidates, still some prejudice about female candidates. Now, Brad, in the weeks and months leading up to the election, we heard nationally from Democrats how most of Donald Trump's support, a lot of it came from people that were either garbage or they were fascists, because that's kind of the updated playbook, right? Nobody's talking about racism anymore, not since Barack Obama was elected. People aren't really harping about sexism since Hillary Clinton got more votes in 2016 than Donald Trump. No, I guess, Brad, the Missouri Democratic Party has not updated their excuse-making book. So the reason why Kamala won, and I should point out here too, Brad, for the sake of fairness, I did not listen to the whole interview. So maybe there's a point where Russ Carnahan points out that since he's been leader of the Missouri Democratic Party, Democrats lost every statewide election in November. They picked up 0.0 seats in the legislature when it was predicted by all accounts that they would pick up between 3 and 7 seats in the Missouri House. Maybe there's a part where Russ Carnahan says responsibility ends with me. The buck stops here. Maybe there's a point where Russ Carnahan took responsibility for the Dems getting their butt kicks this year, and I just missed it, Brad, because I didn't hear it. So otherwise, it looks like Missouri voted for Donald Trump because Missouri voters are still racist and sexist.
You know, John, my own opinion on this is, quite honestly, I grow tired of the dynasties, as you refer to them. We had the Bush dynasty, and obviously we had the Kennedy dynasty. We're still having some of the Kennedy dynasty with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Give it a rest, guys. Get a real job. Don't just rely on your father's father's father. Once upon a time was an important guy, and then the rest of your life you just live it because of the fact that your father's father's father was an important guy. Let's, go out and get a real job, John. I mean, work the drive-thru at McDonald's or something like that.
I hear what you're saying. Now, in defense of Missouri Democrats, they had a dynamic leader before, a guy named Michael Butler, a black guy from St. Louis City, who, as we know, has announced his intention to run for mayor next year. Michael Butler led the Democratic Party for a while. And then I believe, Brad, if I recall correctly, he was reelected and then chose to not serve. He essentially was like, I'm done with all this. And if you're a Missouri Democrat and you're a geriatric that's still identifying an old white man or an old white woman that's still identifying as a Democrat in 2023 and 2024, you hear the name Carnahan, you know that's Mel and Jean's kid, and you say, we need a warm body with a slack jaw who could sit in the seat for a little while and not mess things up too bad. And he didn't mess things up too bad. Democrats lost every statewide election. They didn't pick up any seats. So, I mean, technically he didn't do any worse for the Democrats, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, he's 66 years old.
Is he really?
So if you look at the leaders in the Missouri House, a woman like Ashley Awney, a young woman from the Kansas City area, leading the Democrats, I'm guessing Rusty has about 30 years on somebody like an Ashley Awney, somebody who has new ideas, somebody who's dynamic and fresh. So why not elect Russ Carnahan at age 66 to be a warm body and a slack jaw to lead the party?
And is she a country western singer?
She might be in her spare time.
She's got that country. Hi, I'm Ashley Awney, and I want you to listen.
I'm Ashley Awney. Yeah, I believe, Brad, she's the only person in the Missouri legislature who identifies as a Hispanic.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, based on folks who were elected in November, I'm not sure if that's still the case, but I believe in the last session, she was the only member who identified as partly Hispanic.
John, it's funny you should mention that because this morning I woke up and I identified as a Jewish Hispanic black person. That's what
really, Brad? Yes, well, I'd love to go. And you know what, though? The takeaway is everybody is welcome at GodSquad.cloud. For those who are just joining the show, this is Brad's most recent tax write-off that he launched in fall of 2024. And everybody is welcome at GodSquad.cloud.
John, can I tell you my appearance yesterday at Grace River Church in St. Peter's? I was there yesterday.
I know exactly where it is. That's off of Veterans. Isn't that off of Veterans Memorial?
Yeah, it faces right on I-70.
There's a fantastic set of batting cages right around there. I'm quite familiar with it.
Okay. Can I tell you my experience there, which is sort of interesting?
Oh, yeah, please do it. That sounds like a teaser for B Block, Brad.
Well, but there's a bunch of stuff. You know, I wake up on Saturday morning and thought to myself, man, there's so many things that happen after the show on Friday. I can't wait to go on the air with John this morning. Oh, it's Saturday.